Welcome to Balls and Beards podcast with Brian and Chad, where we dive headfirst into the world of hunting and fishing with a healthy dose of humor and humility. Well, Chad, this is episode 10, and we got a special guest. You want to introduce him?
Yes, I will. We got Mr. Drew Giles from the Fever. We're going to talk some fishing and outdoors.
Let's go.
Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Fever, then we'll get into the fishing part of it.
Yeah, man, we are a hunting and fishing apparel, company, but we also have an online following as far as social media. So we have Facebook and Instagram following. People get on there and ask questions or share their catch or their kill and strike up conversation. Sometimes turns into an argument like here lately. But
I've seen a few of those. So
we try to keep a lot of that at bay. But we have 20-something moderators to kind of keep on that. But here lately with the changes with regulations have been pretty hot on the fire with people talking about having different opinions on how they did that. So here lately it's been a lot of arguing.
yeah. Well, what do you think about the new regulations?
Man, I'm kind of torn because I do consider myself a conservationist, so I don't want to go completely against everything they say.
Right.
I do agree that we need to, be conservative about some things, especially the snook, just because I would like to see them here, like all the time, not just
Right.
on a fluke.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think the redfish thing is kind of crazy. We have tons of redfish, and there's arguments over, you shouldn't keep one over 30 inches because, they got worms in them. Well, some people only have means to fish from the bank. So
Right.
when you're fishing from the bank, I don't know if y'all fish much from the bank. Saltwater fishing is extremely hard to catch slot reds from the bank.
Correct.
So you're pretty much going to catch bull reds. So I don't know. You got them guys that go out and they're fishing piers or fishing banks, at the boat launch. It's not their fault, that they either like doing it or they can't afford a boat to go.
Right.
So if they catch a, over slot redfish and want to keep it for dinner, I have nothing against that. So,
All right. I agree.
I do too. I've been in conversations since all this and with other people. I think in Texas, they're allowed one per year over 26 inches.
right.
Wow.
One. I don't know. There's plenty of redfish out there.
There are tons of redfish. And then going to the sheep's head. That one kind of struck me a little bit. Y'all know I'm a sheep's head guy.
Yeah.
I thought about you when I saw that.
Going from, 10 fish to, I think they dropped it to 8.
Yeah.
It's, and a lot of people argue 8's way more than enough fish, but I don't know if y'all have ever cleaned a sheep's head, but there is a lot of discard.
Right.
You
Right.
get very little meat towards, the fish versus the discard. So, while 8 fish is a lot of fish, and, you got a lot of ways too.
Right.
Correct.
Well, how did you get into fishing? Most people start as a small child with their dad or something like that. But how did you really get into it? Because I open up Facebook and I see Drew Giles. You fish a lot now.
Yeah.
I want to become Drew Giles on fishing. I want to fish as much as Drew Giles.
Man, since this January, I hadn't been as big into it. Opened another company, so trying to run it, get it started. Haven't been able to do as much fishing as I done in the past, but originally started with
Are you feeling sorry for him, Chad?
Yeah.
No, he's still fishing more than we are, and we don't.
Right.
We're not open up another business. So.
Yeah, and everything you see on Facebook is not necessarily from that day. I have to I have to fill voids and make sure they're not taking my monetization away from me. So as long as they're paying me, I'll keep posting stuff. So
We get it.
I posted a sheep's head picture the other day, and it was actually from over a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I had tons of comments, people wondering how I caught that many sheep's head. It was I literally I didn't say anything, I just posted the picture, and people start talking about it. So every time you see a picture doesn't necessarily mean I will win that day.
Okay.
I think you've made that comment on there before.
Yeah. People call me out saying that I never work. So I have to.
Now, did you go with Noah the other day? Was that the past week?
So Noah went with me.
Okay, Noah went with you.
Yeah, Noah
Okay.
went with me.
And I coach Noah, so
Yeah. So I had 2 guys that are used to guiding, on the boat with me, and we did pretty good. Unfortunately, Noah struck out, but it happens.
I know that. I know that feeling. Well, how'd you really get into fishing?
Man, it's kind of like what you just said. And it's the
Yeah.
stereotypical, dad taking us fishing. We didn't have a boat, so we fished bank fishing. So that's how I grew up. That's why I kind of feel, on the redfish deal. That's why I
Right.
kind of feel like I do, because that's how I, grew up fishing. Was dad would say, "Hey, let's go behind the ice house." We go to Morgan's Ice, and that was probably the coolest thing, man. It was like going back there, getting a cane pole, picking our cane pole out. We would pick which one we want, and dad would take the machete and cut it, and take all the
So you
the
took that
limbs
little
off of
group
it.
that's still there right beside
They're
the
still
house
there.
now.
They're
Oh
still
yeah,
there
they don't go away.
yeah, no, no. Yeah, that's the only way we go there and pick out our cane, and dad would chop it down. Each time we got a new cane pole, and he'd line it. We go find a little creek on the side of the road and fish for brim and catfish, and every now and then catch a bass. So
That's
Yeah.
cool. We just go chop
Yeah.
it down right there by Morgan's Ice.
Yeah.
yeah, we fished just about every roadside creek in Baldwin County.
Well, I grew up on the Delta, so I did a lot of bass fishing, and as I got older, that's when I kind of got involved with fishing inshore.
Yeah.
And I'd rather fish inshore than offshore now.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's
Like-
just,
Yeah.
I've done all the fishing. I've been in some tournaments offshore and, done the bottom fishing, but this is definitely, I love inshore fishing.
Me
So-
too. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just love fishing. If I can fish anywhere, it doesn't matter.
Right. No, I definitely, man, I have very seldom fish, freshwater fish anymore. And we live, on Lake Renago, Lakeland. I go out there and fish it for bass every now and then and try to catch a crappie, but that's about the most of my freshwater fishing. And far as offshore, I've probably been a handful of times in the last 10 years. So
Yeah.
it's not,
I used to go a lot, and I don't know the last time I've been.
Yeah,
Probably
it's just-
2 years,
seems like-
maybe.
a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot
A
of
lot
work.
of work and a lot of fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, not ripping on those guys, but just, dropping down and waiting on something to crank up. I don't know. That's what I do when I shoot set fish, but
Yeah.
it's, so I guess it could be argued that way, but
You didn't have to go as far though for the sheephead.
yeah, no, you're not spending, and you're not, getting worked on the boat. So,
Well, what's your favorite time of year to fish? You probably gonna tell me all year long, but what's really
Yeah.
your favorite time to fish?
man, so, summer to fall, for sure is my favorite. We're catching flounders, one of my favorite fish, fish to catch, flounder and sheepshead. So, and two, we get good at speckled. I like catching speckled trout in the fall. So that summer to fall is definitely my favorite time. But then you get into winter, and when it's 20, 30 degrees outside, and maybe not just a little bit of a wind, but not like
That's why we got to
That's-
get you into deer hunting a little
Hey.
bit to kind of take up some of that space. I know you
Yeah.
bird hunt a lot. But
I do.
We got to.
yeah,
That's for another show. We'll bring you back to talk about bird hunting
yeah.
because I know you do a lot of that too.
I
but,
do.
We got to get you in. We got to get him on the ram hunt. We got to take him ram
Yes.
hunt with our group. That's what we got to do.
You'd enjoy that.
Yeah,
It's a good time.
It's totally different. It's relaxed.
yeah.
It's a good time.
I'd try it.
Yeah, we took about 15 this past year, so it was
Dang.
a good time. And we go every year, so
That's
we're
good.
working on a video for that. Oh man, that is time consuming. We still haven't finished it yet.
Telling me, man, we were gonna start. So with the fever, we were gonna start up like a series of
Right.
videos and do different episodes of fishing. And I'd hired someone to be our host,
Mhm.
and we filmed probably 8 episodes. And man, sitting behind a computer trying to. That's why they haven't been released. Like, they're still there.
Yeah, we kind of got the same thing going on, and we're trying to figure out how we want to do it.
It's
We
a
got
pain.
tons and tons of footage, and some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's real bad. So
Yeah.
we're just trying to decipher through that. But I don't know. We got to get you on the ram hunt.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. How does tide and water clarity come into play when you're fishing?
Man, so tide's huge when it comes to sheepshead fishing. So I love any kind of movement, tidal movement, incoming or outgoing.
Right.
And I like to be, like an hour and a half, 2 hours before each one, before or after. Don't like being in a nip tide for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, same thing on flounder, speckled trout. I mean, they like to bite when tide's moving, and with specks, if you can get a tidal movement early in the morning, because them and our flounder both are ambush predators, so
Right.
they're going to feed, when it's best for water movement.
Yeah. Well, how do you choose where you're going? You don't have to tell us your fishing spots
Yeah, no.
now, but how do you choose where you're going to go that day? I know, like with us, I know we do some planning the night before because we're looking at tides. We're
Right.
looking at using apps to look at what the bites are like the
Yeah.
next day and stuff like that. So I'll give them we use Salt Strong, and we kind of look at that a little bit too. And but how do you figure out where you're actually going to go?
Man, I do look for water clarity. Water clarity is a big thing. I like personally fishing cleaner water, and a lot of my buddies over on the west side, over Mobile, they like dirty water. They like fishing dirty water. They hate coming over here fishing our side because the water's cleaner over here. And I
See,
don't know,
we don't, yeah, we haven't fished over. I think I fished over in my whole lifetime. I fished over on that side of the bay twice.
really.
And he and we always fish together, and we haven't been over there once. And
No.
I was thinking I knew the water was kind of a little bit dirty over there, but here lately, a couple of times I've been out. And one reason I'm looking at, I'm thinking about going flounder gigging on the eastern shore, and I'm looking at water clarity, and I'm like, I can't see anything. This water's dirty.
Right.
But we have been getting a lot of rain, but so there's a big difference there.
For sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think Noah goes that west side a lot, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's some good fishing over there. I'm not knocking them on their fishing. The fishing's amazing.
Yeah.
The water's just dirty, dirtier than our side, especially if it's a strong east wind.
Right.
We have that. We have the block. That it's different. That's a lot of how I choose where I'm going fishing. Is I look at the wind more so than anything, because I want to fish in less wind. So
Right. That's what we try to do too.
That's what we try to do too, because we don't want to fight that with the trolling motor the whole
No.
time, and it just becomes a pain to do that. So
definitely.
we're definitely looking for, you talked about water movement a while ago. We definitely talk about that all the time, and we're looking for water movement, but not the kind that's got big waves in the bay, not that type of water movement.
Yeah.
No.
Now, I guess the main thing I like to answer that is, the wind. I look for wind, and also I kind of keep track of when I've caught fish certain times of the year. So I do a lot of fishing in Mississippi, so Mississippi and Louisiana.
Now, I've fished a lot in Louisiana. Mississippi, I haven't. Now,
I
I've
love
heard
Mississippi.
fishing is pretty good. Now,
I love it, and the water's dirty over there, so I guess maybe
Well,
Mobile guys have something to them. I mean, I do a lot better fishing in Mississippi than I do over here.
So what are you using your gear, and what are you changing? Because I know when I bass fish, we would change based on water clarity too, what
Correct.
color we were fishing with. So what do you do as far as fishing clear water as opposed to dirty water?
Man, I listened to Jason Smith years ago. I don't know if y'all ever watched him.
I remember.
And Jason Smith always preached dirty water, dark bait.
Right.
And that's
the same thing with bass fishing.
Yeah.
We did the same thing.
So I mean, and that's how I grew up doing that. And you ask about gear, I fish mainly artificial. So I usually start with a small bait, especially if I'm spec fishing, and I call it my locator bait. I'm going to use something smaller profile, like a 3-inch, 2.5-inch, 3-inch. I love using a sparkle beetle.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I grew up fishing. That's my uncle. That's all he'll throw. That's
Really?
it. That's all he's gonna throw is a sparkle beetle. He'll change the color, and 1/4-ounce jig head and a sparkle beetle. So that's my locator.
You got any of those in your bag, Chad?
Mm-mm.
I don't think I do either.
Man, people look at them and be like, "Man, there's no way this is gonna catch fish." I mean, it's literally like a grub with a split tail. It's
Right.
the simplest bait ever. But it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
So I use that, I locate, and then step up from there and see if they want a bigger profile. So here lately, we've been fishing the reefs and, fishing the reefs out in Mobile Bay, and they want small profile. So
Do they want a split tail, paddle tail? What are you kind of fishing with?
we've had both, but you go over 3 inches, it's like they don't want it.
They don't want it, huh?
No. So one of my favorite baits I love throwing is a hoodwink. And man, I just couldn't get them to bite it, and they'll bite it any other day of the week.
Right.
But right now they want small profile.
I mean, take that into
Consideration.
I'm putting that up there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of storing some of these things up there on those days where now I know it's fishing, so I know you go out there and you have some bad days.
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah, those don't get posted. Y'all only see the
You
good
don't
days.
even tell anybody you went fishing that day, huh?
No, there's an old saying, old like joke about, you take a picture of the sunrise, it's like, a curse.
Right. Right.
All you're gonna have is a picture to show of the sunrise, and I never want to go back with just the sunrise picture.
I know. It's crazy when we start filming stuff on our hunting part of it. When we'll start filming, like us getting out of the truck, or we're going to the stand, or we're getting set up for turkey hunting, or something like that, it never fails. It'll be the crappiest hunt we've had, and we have no footage to go with any of that
Right.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Correct.
It's terrible. It's like, oh my gosh. And then we're like, man, let's just forget the cameras. Let's go hunting, and it's just
So
knocks you out. And you're like, oh my gosh, we should have filmed this. And we're like,
man, that's why I don't. People ask me all the time why I don't tournament fish. I do not tournament fish, and why I don't charter for money. Like I'll take people out all the time, but I don't charge a dime.
we're going to talk about that
Yeah,
later.
y'all welcome to jump on. I don't ever charge a dime. I just like taking people, and
Now,
especially
we pitch in for fuel.
I
we do.
I don't even do that, man. I don't let people pay for fuel. I don't let people pay for anything. I just like, to me, like, and this is why. And this is why I don't tournament fish, because at that point it becomes an obligation. Like I have to catch something.
Right.
And to me, it's my stress relief. Like I'm going out there to enjoy it, have fun. When I take people fishing, it's to have fun. I don't want to feel like I have to do, have to provide.
Right.
And,
Right.
I mean, because you can go out there any day and get skunked. It's going to
Oh,
happen.
yeah. And we've had some of those.
Yeah. And when it's tournament, tournament fishing, we put on a lot of tournaments, but I definitely won't fish the tournaments I put on, but
Right.
I don't fish tournaments in general just because of that. I want it to be my, step away to get, to release some stress.
And that's kind of the way I am too. I used to fish bass tournaments. Now that was different. I don't know. It could be the same thing. We fished the bass tournament just because we wanted to fish, and we just would enter them and just fish them because we were going to bass fish anyway. Why not enter the tournament? And we didn't care if we won or lost. I mean, we placed pretty good every now and then and win some prizes and win some stuff like that. Other than that, it was just fun.
Yeah.
And
I can't have fun when I'm competing. I don't like losing.
I don't either, but
if I'm losing, if I'm not catching fish, I'm not gonna have fun. Like if I go out there and I'm not in a tournament and I don't catch any fish, it's not that big of a deal. I just have to answer the wife when I get back. She's like, "Where's the fish?"
Oh, I get that all the time.
They're all too big, man.
You go fish, you go fishing all the time for us. Well, every one we caught were over the slot limit, so we caught a bunch of fish, and we just couldn't. They were just too big,
right?
So
Or too small.
So,
Well, going back to that, a few weeks ago, me and Brian went fishing, and we took my daughter out. It was early morning, beautiful sunrise. I wanted to take a picture of it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Kind of based on what you said.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's kind of bad omen.
So we have two things like that. Taking a picture before fishing, and then also it's always been a running joke on my boat about getting ice. If we get ice,
we never have ice. We don't get ice until we have fish. We get them on the way home.
Right. So
correct.
And then some of my buddies, they have their rule is you can't crack a beer until a fish has been caught. So if you crack a beer before a fish has been caught, you might as well call it a skunk day.
Who was that we went fishing with the other day, and they bought ice? It was a couple weeks ago. Was it with my dad?
No, was it Tanner? No, it was your dad.
It was with my dad.
It was your dad.
Dad goes, "We need to get some ice." I'm like, "No,
yeah,
we'll get the ice after." That's kind of one of those bad omens. Like, you're not gonna catch anything if you get ice.
Hey, that's one of our things on my boat for sure.
Well, you already talked about, because one of my next questions was, do you use live bait or artificial? And you answered that a while ago by using artificial. Now, I know you use live bait sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean sheepshead fishing. I use live bait. So,
all right, tell me how you go about sheepshead fishing, because I've caught some before, but I haven't really been going sheepshead fishing. So, how do you set up to go sheepshead fishing, and what's involved with that?
And sheepshead fishing is a lot of patience and really just finding structure. But I love taking people and putting them on when I know it's going to be a catching day. And there's some days where we know it's going to be a catching day.
How do you know that?
Man, so with sheepshead, it's pretty easy. If the weather's cold and you have running water and you have structure and you have bait is going to be on the structure. So if you can find, a pylon or a piece of wood that has barnacle on it,
Mm-hmm.
clams, they're going to be down there eating. So, and if it's cold and the water's moving, there's certain places that we know are going to be there and they're going to be catching days. So I don't mind taking people on those and putting them on catching fish, but when we're having to look for them and go hunt them,
Right.
it can get pretty boring, you know.
Yeah, it's like
Stuck in
triple
bait.
tail fishing, trying to look for those jokers.
Yeah,
On it.
man, I haven't caught a triple tail. I'm supposed to go. No,
You have
I
not.
have not. So
I have one thing on Drew.
yeah, I've not caught a triple tail. So that was one of my things this year. One of on my list this year to do is catch a triple tail. And a buddy of mine, he's hooked me up with a bunch of his pad numbers. So of course, I can't give those out. But once I catch, it'll be this year. I'm going to catch one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a different experience for me. Just pitching that shrimp.
Right.
I think I caught mine under a ice chest lid.
Oh wow.
First one I ever caught was.
Did you see it?
Chest lid.
Did you see
Yes,
it before you?
yes.
You did see it?
Yeah.
So I've seen one. We didn't know what we were doing. And it was massive. It looked like a big garbage can lid sitting there. And we knew exactly what it was when we saw it.
Right.
And so I told my brother, I'm like, hey, stay on the wheel. I'm gonna go up to the bow and pitch at this thing we actually had live shrimp on the boat. So I run up there to start pitching at it. Well, I look back and my brother's unmanning the wheel and he's grabbing his and like running up to the bow of the boat too. And we're both pitching on it, scare it, and then we drift off the spot and go back and triple tail wasn't there. So I thought that we're done. He's not going to bite anymore. Well,
Right.
after talking with a buddy, triple tail fish is like, no, he's still down there. Just because you can't see him doesn't mean he's not there.
Right.
So
And we had a
Yeah.
whole thing of the first day when I caught the first one I ever caught. There was a whole line of just trash.
oh yeah,
So there's tons of trash in the water, and we're trying to fish. And I see that ice chest lid. And I'm not even really, but I saw him right up under that and just pitch right there, and boom, I was on.
yeah.
So it was
I
crazy.
mean, I've watched it a bunch. I watched all the YouTubers doing it, and it looks
Yeah.
fun. It looks like a lot of running. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it looks like it.
and I guess that's why I haven't got in it. Like, I don't
Right.
know.
that part
I
of it's not fun. It's,
Yeah,
it's
be
just
fishing.
yeah.
But I was told once I catch it, it's
Then you'll be hooked.
then you'd be hooked.
Yeah.
So I feel like we keep getting off topic. But what was it you originally asked?
Well, we were talking about the sheep's head, and you were telling me about the structure and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
So we went from sheep's head to triple tail,
tail.
and I did that, so that's my fault. So,
I'm mad about it, man.
but yeah, we were talking about sheep's head. We saw a guy one time. Was it you and I that were fishing?
Yeah.
This guy comes from the shore, so he must have a house over there on the eastern shore. He comes
little
up
wooden boat.
little wooden boat,
Dude,
and
he hammers them.
Yes.
he come over there. And this is the first time I've ever seen this.
Me and my son were trout fishing, and we were catching a ton of trout.
We
And-
were too that day.
Yeah, and he comes up, and I'm like, I tell Cole, I'm like, this dude's about to come like cut us off, like right where we're fishing. And like he's super nice about it. He comes up and he's like paddles. He
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
paddles it up. He's like,
We saw him coming for an hour.
yeah. He said, he says, well, we did too. We kept watching him, and I'm like, surely he's not going to come right here where we're fishing. No, right, exactly where we're fishing.
He's getting right on them poles.
Oh yeah. So he comes paddling up in there. He did ask. He said, "Hey, do you mind if I cut in front of y'all?" And I was like, "I mean, you're kind of already there, but yeah, go ahead, man." So we watch him go up on those pylons, and I'm like, "This dude's setting up for sheepshead fishing. What in the world is he doing?"
Yeah.
And
He takes that paddle
oh yeah, I
and
do
he-
the same thing.
and he scraped them.
I just-
He scraped them poles, and he's hammering them.
Oh yeah,
He is hammering.
yeah. We watched him catch quite
And
a
I,
few.
yeah, we were catching fish, and I kind of quit.
We
just
did the same
watching
thing.
him. I was
We did the
like,
same thing.
"Oh my gosh, look at this guy!
Yeah.
I mean, he's hammering them."
No,
Yeah.
we put the poles down and just sat there and watched it.
Yeah, he we did the same thing. He got his limit and left, and
Yeah.
we're still trying to get ours on trout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and of
just
course I fish artificial with I kind of wanted to buy some bait from him. It's like a fish. I didn't have anything but artificials, and I don't know if y'all have ever tried fishing sheepshead for artificial, but it's not easy at all.
Mm-mm.
So
I think the sheephead I've caught all been on live baits.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. Everyone I've ever caught has been on
Yeah.
live bait.
yeah, I mean, there's the gimmick stuff too. I mean, my buddy uses all kinds of stuff. He's used sweet peas. He's used crickets.
Corn?
He's used
You-
corn.
use
Yeah,
corn?
he's used corn. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does all those videos on YouTube. He's a kayak fisherman
Okay.
and Southern Salt.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate, he's a good dude. But yeah, he does all that stuff, gets all kind of views. So, but it works. I mean, but fish have to be there.
Correct.
Right.
You're not locating a fish with a piece of corn.
That's my problem. That's what I got to figure out where all these fish are all the time. You know, we have good luck, you know, sometimes, but then sometimes you go and it's just, I think sometimes we've gotten better at this. Sometimes we would go just to be going, knowing that the conditions were terrible.
Oh.
We just want the fish,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, you
no
can
water,
couch.
no water movement, nothing, you know. But
Yeah, it's
now, how do you change your approach? You rather catch speckled trout or redfish? What's your favorite out of those two?
speckled trout.
Speckled trout.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean I'll redfish some, but it's I don't know. I like eating redfish better. I
Right.
don't know if that makes sense, but I
Right.
like eating them better. but I
No,
like
it
catching
does.
trout.
100%.
Yeah, the trout just has that thump, man. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like a drug. I love that thump.
Yeah.
Same with the flounder. I think that's why I like flounder fishing so much.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to get to next. I mean, I used to gig a lot with my dad back in the day, and we
Yeah.
talked about this on one of our other episodes. And I remember him using to waking me up, and this was before everything was built up down there. You know, we would fish down there around Ono.
Terry Cove.
Terry
Oh, yeah.
Cove was one of the, but nothing was there.
Right.
So it was shallow water back then. Now you've got all these, you know, boat docks everywhere and channels going anywhere, so you don't have as much shallow
Right.
water. And we used to gig a lot, and I love doing that. But I probably rod and reel fishing. I've probably only caught about 5 or 6 flounder rod and reel fishing in my
Oh
lifetime.
man, you're missing out.
I know, and that's why I have you here today to fill me in on what I need to do.
Man, there's nothing like hooking into a wet blanket and just reeling it in. The fight of a flounder is really not that big of a fight. I mean, it is like you're reeling in a wet t-shirt or blanket.
Right.
But man, that thump they put on it, it's awesome. I love it.
What are you actually? All right, let's just say you set the day and say, "Hey, I want to go catch flounder today."
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's your setup?
So I fish, like I said, I fish Mississippi a lot for it, and we're either fishing docks, rocks, or grass lines.
So you
And-
gotta have structure.
Yeah, structure drop offs. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I don't really fish. I used to kayak fish a whole lot, and never ran, any kind of electronics. So, I wasn't really necessarily looking for drop offs as much as I was looking for banks, and structure.
Right.
So, and then finding out how far they are off of the bank. A lot of times they'll be in that same target zone. And so when I do fish this, I fish like parallel with the bank versus fishing
To the bank.
to the bank. Yeah.
Right.
And that's why it's a lot easier to flounder fish from a kayak than it is a boat.
Right. Because I used to kayak fish a lot, and that was one of those things that I would kayak fish 3 rivers, the whole eastern shore, but that's about as far as I, went with
Yeah.
it. But it was pretty much I caught more reds probably kayak fishing than I did specks.
Really.
But the flounder thing, that's what I've been missing. So that's the one thing I'm trying to.
What's your go-to
Yes.
bait?
Man, I like, I'm a huge Z man. Yeah. I love anything about Z man. My buddy's brand, I was telling you, Southern Salt, he has a hoodwink that I love it. It works very well for flounder. And I'm huge in I'm a huge believer in Procure. I think flounder loves scent.
Right.
And there's a lot of guys that'll fish without it, but I myself, and a lot of it's confidence, that's in any kind of fishing.
Right.
You have a confidence bait, and that Procure's, I guess, like my crutch.
Right.
I'm going to use that Procure on everything. So even if Z-Man comes in, and I'm putting flounder pounder Procure on it.
What's your best time of the year to go flounder fishing?
Right now. Yeah,
Right
right
now.
now. Yeah, I mean they're coming in good off the Gulf, and I mean you can catch them in November is like the easiest time, but that's why they cut it off. You know, they cut
Right.
the month of November off
Right.
because
Right.
they're traveling back out, and it's real easy to catch them.
Right.
But right now they're good to catch and good to eat.
All right. So that's good to know. Because so right now, so we're gonna, since we have you on here, we want to go flounder fishing.
You got it.
So we want to do this in the next few weeks, right? Yeah.
I'm game.
Yeah.
I got 5 more weeks off.
No.
But yeah, once we get through with this podcast, we'll talk
Yeah.
about flounder fishing actually going.
Heck
So
yeah.
we're going to do this. But well, we appreciate you coming on here. If you don't mind, we're going to bring you back again
Yeah.
for another episode and talk about a few more things. We probably got a lot we could talk with you about, but we appreciate you coming on
Yes,
here.
sir.
And everybody go out and support the Fever. Drew does a good job with that, along with other guys that are a part of that. And also make sure you check us out on Facebook, Bones to Beards, on Facebook and Instagram, along with our podcast. And you can probably pick up this podcast on numerous sites.
Apple, Spotify, Amazon,
Yeah.
and YouTube.
Yep. So we've got a lot of different avenues to listen. So we appreciate you coming on. As we always say, if you're not in the woods or on the water, you don't know what you're missing.